Coach, first meeting between these two teams was also the second half of back-to-back for you. What do you remember? What stands out on tape from that fourth quarter?
Yeah, I mean, they got hot. They made a bunch of threes and played very well, but we didn't play great. I don't think they played great for 3 quarters, and that kind of allowed us to hang around. But then they got on fire in the fourth, and I think we ran out of gas a little bit. But you know, there's no excuses. They beat us, and they're an excellent team, and that fourth quarter performance was impressive.
What makes them excellent? When you see what they're about?
Well, they have two great playmakers in Levine and DeRozan, and they're extremely, I think, tough physical defenders. You know, they got a lot of guys that get into the ball. And then the most important thing is I think they have a great spirit. They, like the top teams in our league, they seem to all play for one another. And there's a certainty and clarity to their group that they're trying to do this together. And I think that really helps them.
Coach, the way Chicago's roster is set up, I mean, you mentioned Levine, DeRozan, then Ball, obviously, at the point. Just what type of challenge is that for the defense when you got so many dynamic playmakers and scorers?
Well, Ball really plays off the ball. You know, it's Levine and DeRozan that really do all the handling. But obviously, you know, Ball, Caruso are good spot-up shooters and tough defenders who can also make plays. So it adds to the levels of, you know, I think the depth of defending, playmaking, shot making, athleticism. So, you know, it's a really good team.
See that James Johnson is questionable tonight. If he can't go, does that create any opening to try and work Blake Griffin back into the rotation?
It's possible. You know, I think though they go small. Second unit, they go with Derek Jones Jr. So it's not necessarily a team that plays a lot of bigs. So I don't know. We'll see.
Steve, last night, Patty had a really interesting answer at the end of his press conference where he was talking about how last night's game is sort of emblematic of the message of the season. Stick with it, find a way to win, and then you can evolve from there as the season goes along. And then he said, you know, it hasn't clicked yet, but it's going to. And when it does, it's going to be exciting. And I'm just wondering, with that kind of perspective, how do you evaluate being 16-6, clearly not clicking all the way yet, but finding a way to win a lot of games along this road?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've said it before. I'm proud of the group for the effort and willingness to go on this journey. You know, like we keep saying, we have 10 new guys. We have a lot of change from last year. Just in even the guys that were here last year, Nick, Joe have been out. You know, Kyrie's not with us. So trying to form an identity that we didn't get a chance to plan or prepare for. It takes time. And so that has got to be something that we enjoy, embrace, and kind of commit to for the entirety of this season. And so for us to be in a good position here with a bunch of wins is really positive. But, you know, that's not our real number one focus. Our focus is trying to find that identity and clarity and connectivity and play together and figure out how we can improve as a group and have the right approach and the right process. And if the process and approach is right, we will improve. And if we improve, I think we can be a really good team. So that's really number one ahead of what's our record.
Steve, good to see you. I have a question.
Hey, Chuck.
There are 10 teams playing 500 at that. And you've been doing this for a long time in the association. Where do you see the East right now? And granted, 20 plus games or whatever, but where do you think this is all going?
Well, I mean, the simple answer is just it's about as strong as the East's been for a long time. You know, there isn't any kind of gimmies, so to speak. You know, the West obviously is terrific as well and has some great teams at the top early in the season. But the East is deep, and every night it seems like it's a battle. So it's good. I think it's good for the balance of the league and for this kind of depth and parity. After it feels like since the 90s, we haven't seen that. I could be wrong, but in the East, so lots of games left, lots of things to settle. But it's been exciting to see such a competitive Eastern Conference so far.
Steve, wanted to tap your offensive mind, the big picture question. It seems like offense is down to start the season league-wide. I was wondering if you had any theories or you see any trends at all?
The two for me, and I could be missing some, and I haven't really put so much thought into it, but the two for me are the physicality. We're trying to figure out some of these points of emphasis, and it's been very physical. Less fouls have been called, less free throws have been shot. And then we're kind of in this 3-season matrix right now where guys have had a season and then a break and a bubble and then a extended kind of break and a congested season and then a short off season and now a full regular season. I think that has an impact as well. And so, those are the two main ones for me. And there's probably a few other really good, reasons why we've started out this way. But, I think by the end of the year, things will kind of go back to the mean.
Coach, yeah. You've had a couple of back-to-backs so far. You haven't been able to win both games. What are the biggest concerns on the back-to-backs, and what can you do to change that trend tonight?
Well, I think it just takes a lot of mental toughness. We've had some injuries. We've had some veteran players that are just starting their season, getting their conditioning and rhythm, and so that's maybe had an impact as well. But hopefully we can find a way to put in two good performances in the back-to-backs, not kind of run out of gas in the second one, or not be as sharp in the second one. So, I've thought about this. I'm not sure I have an answer for you. I could throw out 3 or 4, but I'm not sure I feel really confident in any of them. There's a few components. You can try to be cute and figure out ways to attack back-to-backs, but the reality is that you usually outthink yourself, and then you end up kicking the first one, and now you're scrambling in the second one. So I think it's really a matter of our team growing and having the mental toughness to be sharp on the second night of a back-to-back.
Steve, you rated 5th defensively, and earlier in the year you said not a lot of people expected that out of this group, but now it's 22 games in, and you're still there, even though the roster's rotation has been a little fluid. What do you feel is kind of driving that, and has been the key to it?
I've been proud of the players' effort. Our biggest thing still is shot discrepancy, giving up offensive rebounds and turning the ball over, which kills your defense. Runouts and the PPP on points per possession on transition opportunities obviously skyrockets and kills your defense and also kills your offense. So the turnovers and offensive rebounds is something that we'll forever have to combat. So given those issues and just that, we're not a historically defensive roster, I'm really proud of the guys' attentiveness, willingness, and ability to kind of lock in and commit down there. So, we could get into the weeds of what's good, what's bad and all that, but really it comes down to a willingness and commitment.
Kevin was emphatic the other night talking about how much he likes to play and doesn't mind the workload that he's got. But he's played 6 straight games with at least 37 minutes, a couple 40-minute games. Is there any restriction on him tonight? And then just what does it say about his attitude that he's at a point where he welcomes that kind of load?
Kevin's mentality is a huge reason of why he's one of the best players of all time. He loves the game. He comes in every day and has a, laser focus on his routine. He finds the most happiness when he's on the basketball court, and he's, the success he has on the court is really the mentality as much as it is the gifts. He's the joy that the game gives him makes him sacrifice every day. So to tell him, hey, we're going to limit your minutes on the back-to-back is not going to get over very well. So we try to sneak some minutes in here and there, or gets, keep him on the bench for an extra 30, 40 seconds when we can. But, it's a long season. We don't want to overburden him. At the same time, there's going to be pockets of the season where we don't have a lot of choice. Fortunately, he's the type of guy that comes to play and loves the game. Great. Thanks, everybody.